everybody, glad you're here. Welcome to the Pepin Tote Sew Along. I'm so glad you're joining along and I'm excited to see what everyone comes up with. It's always fun to see what you make. Today we're going to be talking about fabric selection and interfacing, as well as getting started on the cutting and fusing. So let's get started. Okay, so I have a few examples of the Pepin Tote sewn up, and this is the kind of basic version that I would say that you can make. This is a wax canvas from Fabric Funhouse. This has the magnetic snap closure on the top and leather handles. So that's that one. And this is the other sample I have. This is a 10-ounce weight wax canvas. This canvas is a wax canvas from Ale Francis Textiles on Etsy. I wouldn't go any heavier than a 10-ounce, but this is a great example of how that kind of looks and feels. And again, leather handles, and this one has the recessed zipper, so that just sits in there. So that is optional. Totally don't have to do it, but we're going to go through that step by step later on in the sew along. So for the fabric requirements, I suggest using a wax canvas or canvas in the 7 to 10 ounce weight range. And for me, that's the ideal weight that you want to be in for a bag. It's durable, you're going to get a lot of wear out of it, and there's a lot of great options to choose from. So we're going to go through a few of those. Okay, if you're a beginner bag maker, I highly suggest using a cotton canvas. It's the easiest to work with. It's closest to anything like quilting cotton if you've been used to using that. Cotton canvas is the next step up. It's heavier, it's more durable, and there's a lot of great things that you can do with it. So the important thing to know about the requirements for the exterior fabric is that I don't recommend using a one-way directional print. Because of the bag's construction, it has no seam on the bottom edge. There's no seam here. This is a crease from the wax canvas, but there's no seam. So if you have a print that's facing up on this side, it's going to wrap around, and on the back side, it's going to be upside down. Now, if you're okay with that, it kind of depends on the print, but if you're okay with that, go for it. I mean, if you have a print that you love, that you think it's going to look great as a bag, just do it. This is a great example of a one-way directional print. The motif is facing up, and then when you turn it over, you can definitely tell that these little guys are facing down. So this is not one I would recommend. Here's another example of a cotton canvas. This is from Rifle Paper Company. When I bought it, I thought it was a two-way directional print. So two-way directional means you can face it this way or this. When you turn around, it's still facing up. Everything is facing up. The repeat is made so that it doesn't look like it's going any certain direction. But in actuality, this print does have a distinct one-way design. I think you can tell it mostly because of the butterflies. All of them are facing this way. All the blooms and leaves are pointed up this way. However, when I look at it upside down, because it's so busy, to me, it's fine. I'm going to go ahead and use it anyway. I'm just going to go through a couple other options just to show you some good examples of prints. This is an IKEA canvas. This doesn't have any direction really to me. It's pretty abstract, so you could use it anyway. So this way you could definitely get away with the 2/3 of a yard requirement. Most prints you're going to want to use the 1 yard requirement measurements and cutting layout so that nothing's facing sideways. Here's another one. This is one two-way directional. You can use it either way. This one is kind of fun, Grumpy Whales. It's designed so it can be used anyway as well, so you can get away with 2/3 of a yard of this print. Here's a one-way directional. I believe these are hills or an abstract version of them. If you like it this way, you can use it that way, but just know that if you use it this way on the front, it's going to look like this on the back. Here's another great abstract cotton canvas. Doesn't matter which way. Abstract, I don't think it matters. And this one is probably one you'd want to use this way. The selvage runs along these edges, so this is the direction of the print, and this is the way you'd want to go. Although you could use it this way too if you wanted. And of course you can use solids. I just love using solids. I'm kind of drawn to all the great colors that are out there now. This is a cotton canvas by Robert Kaufman Fabrics. It's called Big Sur Canvas, and it's a 9.6 ounce weight. It's perfect for bags. I've used it on just about every sample I've made in the last year or so just to try it out. You need 2/3 of a yard of a solid. And of course you can use wax canvas, cork fabric. If you have some other fabric that some friend gave you that you love, go for it. A lot of it depends on what interfacings you're going to use, and we can kind of talk about that in the next section. For the lining for the Pepin Tote, I recommend a quilting cotton. Of course, there's tons of great prints that you can choose from, so it's a really fun opportunity to pick out a favorite print and add some color. The Pepin Tote is pretty easy for interfacings. If you're new to bag making, interfacing can kind of be a little bit overwhelming, but the one I'm going to recommend for the Pepin Tote is a woven fusible interfacing. It's cotton, it has a glue on the back, and it works perfect to go along with any fabric that you're going to use. The exception being if you're using wax canvas or cork, you're not going to want to interface that. It's already stable enough to use as is. So go ahead and skip using the interfacing on wax canvas if that's what you're using. Okay, so lastly on the supply side, we're going to need a few extra things. So in the very basic tote, you're going to need a handle. So in this example, I'm used a leather handle. You can also use cotton webbing. I've got two examples here. Got a natural and a black. Those are in my shop, but if you want, there's probably a million colors that you can get online anywhere, or even check your local shop. So those are great options. You can also make your own handles out of fabric if you don't have either of those other supplies. Anything really works. If you're gonna make your own fabric straps, make them 1 inch wide and 20 inches long, you'll need 2. The Pepin Tote is great. It has a couple options for closures. You can have no closure at all. It's fine if you just want an open tote to throw things in. Depends on what you're using it for. If you want a little bit more secure of a closure, you can use a magnetic snap. This is an 18mm magnetic snap. We'll go through that installation later on. And for this tote, I have also included a recessed zipper option. You totally don't have to do the recessed zipper. It's just an option for anybody who likes to have a zippered closure. You're going to need a 20-inch zipper, and this is a YKK jacket zipper. Normally it's on a jacket, so it opens up all the way, but the reason I like it is because the end is finished. I don't have to sew on an end tab. I know that some people love doing that, and it's cool. You can do all kinds of different fun things on an end tab, but this is just my preference. It makes it really quick and easy. Okay, and a couple fun options. If you are really wanting to take it to the next level, if you're into bag making, you have some extra supplies and you want to give it a try, there's tons of options you can do for the front pocket. A metal snap. I really love these guys. I think they're fun and easy to install. You do have to have the setting tools to set them, but they're going to go on the front pocket here. So if you wanted to do that, you could set the snap right on the front pocket. If you have rivets, this is a great time to use them. Rivets are totally optional. They're just an extra thing. If you don't have them, you're not interested. If you're a beginner, I would skip anything to do with that. But if you have rivets, you like using them, this is a great opportunity to kind of dress things up. And I think I would put them on the top corners of each of the front pocket, and then maybe at the base of each handle. That's just an option, but yeah, those are rivets. Another fun way to customize the bag is to do a front pocket that's a different fabric. So I have one that I'm going to make a sample, but this is the fabric I'm going to put on the pocket. I think it's really fun. If you have a small piece of fabric, it's a great opportunity to use that really cool print that you've been saving. And of course, you could use it for quilt block or embroidery or patchwork. Okay, so I think that's all for the materials that you'll need. And next up, we're going to get cutting and fusing. Once you're done cutting and fusing, you're going to have one main exterior piece out of your exterior fabric, and that will have the fusible woven on the back. You'll have two top lining pieces. These I chose not to use the fusible woven on. It kind of depends. If you have a heavier canvas, you might want to skip it. It does make it a little bit bulkier at the side seams, so if your machine isn't great at handling layers, you might want to skip it on your fabric as well. And then the front pocket piece. And that's all for the exterior fabrics. And then for the lining fabrics, you're going to have 2 main lining pieces, and they're both going to have the woven interfacing on them. And then the lining also has an interior pocket, so you're going to have 2 interior pocket pieces. Only one of those is going to have the interfacing. Okay, so once you have those pieces fused, you can set them all aside and we'll be ready to go for next week. See you then.